Howdy, everyone. Frankie here, New West Reset. Hello, how's it going? Welcome back, and thank you very much for shooting in and joining a fella here for another one. Another live one, as a matter of fact. New West Reset Live, episode 146. The late edition of the show. We'll get into that in a moment here. But thank you for joining me. Sunday, November 23rd, 2025. Just a knuckle hair past 8 p.m. local time. That's mountain time. Because as always, we're coming at you from the Canadian Rockies, or the foothills thereof, here in Purdy, Alberta, Calgary, Alberta, up in Canada land. Thank you for joining me, everybody on YouTube and on Rumble. Great to see all of you. Thanks for winding down your weekend here with yours truly on the live show. If you haven't already, please consider giving a fellow one of these, or one of these. That's fine. I'm not going to cry. It just helps to push me out into the thing. You know what I'm saying? Thanks to everybody who's already shared and subscribed. I really appreciate all of you. I know it's late, so a lot of you are going to be watching this after the live, after the fact. Thank you very much for all of your support as well. This one's for all the night owls. Yeah. Anyway, thanks for being here. The late edition of the show. We're going to be looking at some alluring headlines of ancient discoveries, or discoveries of ancient things and places. Just stuff that's randomly come up on my feed here lately. I thought I'd share it with some of you because a lot of it is pertaining to what many of us talk about here on, people of like mind, people that are trying to get down to the nitty gritty, trying to find the truth about our actual real official history instead of the narrative given his story. And just thought, you know what, I got to share some of this stuff. So thanks for being here on the Sunday Fun Day Show, eh? So as mentioned, I know it's later and technically quite late for a lot of you. It's 8 p.m. Mountain Time, 10% or 10 p.m. Eastern. So I went hunting with my dad today. That's why I'm starting later. Went deer hunting, white-tailed deer hunting. And when your pops is 77 years young and is a colon cancer survivor who 12 years ago the doctor said, "Hey, you might have about 5 to 7 years there, sir." My dad said to that. So when this fella wants to go hunting, I'm going hunting. So actually Saturday night, after I was done work Saturday evening, Pops picked me up and we went up to the campsite where they've got their little caravan or little trailer. It's like a campground, but it's seasonal, so they can keep the thing up there the whole summer if they like. Anyways, we had it parked there for hunting, or I should say mom and dad had it parked there a little longer than, camping season, summertime here in Canada land, so that dad could use it as sort of a hunting cabin, right? As a home base, rather than driving 2 hours out into the section of land that he's been, licensed to hunt. Anyways, long story longer. He picked me up Saturday night and we went up there, stayed the night there so that we could get up at about 5:30 a.m. So we could be out in the bush ready to trip some deer. When they come running by along the deer trails, you just trip them and they fall down and then you put them on your plate. That's what hunting is for all you squeamish people. Call it deer tripping. Anyway, I don't know what that means. But by the time you get out there, you want to be out there for sunrise, because up in Canada land, you can't hunt in the dark with a flashlight. You can't bait the deer or the elk or the moose or whatever you're hunting. You can't use bait to attract them. None of that stuff. So you got to wait for the sun to rise, right? So officially today was at 8:10 a.m. local time, I think, or 8:10 or 8:11. So you want to be out there ready to go when beep, the sun pops up and you can see what you're going to be tripping. So white-tailed deer and grouse, which is like a prairie chicken, for lack of a better term. Well, we got skunked. That's not to say we got sprayed by a skunk. We didn't get any deer. We didn't trip any deer, unfortunately. And we didn't even see any grouse. No prairie chickens to be had. So, yeah, sometimes you get the bar and sometimes the bar gets you. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, if I could join my old man out in the woods and help him on a hunt at 77, after going through all that crap with the cancer, then I'm doing it. I enjoy being out in the woods. I hunt anyways, so for me it's a win-win. I get to hang out with my pops for a bit, and we get to do stuff that we haven't, we get to do stuff together that we have in common. It's a good father-son thing, even though I'm 55 years old, Pops is 77, and he likes to be out there traipsing through the woods looking for deer to trip, or moose, or elk. But yeah, no luck. So that's why I booked it for a later start time. Normally I would start at 5 p.m. local time. It's now just after 8 p.m. local time. And even that was cutting her close. I got home at like 7:15 there, eh? Anyway, enough blah, 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 blah. We're going to be looking at Alluring headline. So as usual, links below for everything that we're going to be covering here. But before that, let's say hello to everybody in the chat. How's everybody in the box doing there? Let me know how you doing, how you been, what's happening, baby. Kathy Broughton is here. Howdy, Kathy. Good to see you from down there in Kentucky land. There's Cousin Vinny on Freemason. He says, this time is great for me. Yeah, see, he's one of those aforementioned night owls. My Cousin Vinny's up sometimes until like 2 or 3 a.m. Come on, man. Guys, got to get some shut-eye. Martin's over on the Bumble. Good to see you, Martin. How you doing there, bud? Thanks for joining. What is it, like 3 a.m. there for you or something? Speaking of 3 a.m., wow. Thank you. Good to see you. Sandra's in the box. SG Mar. Hello there. Love and blessings to you and to all of you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. And I know Stuff Beagle's also live right now. So, yeah, sorry about that, Biggs. But what are you going to do? I wasn't going to not do a live show. I just can't go on at 10 or 11 p.m. local time because the guy's got to get up and go to work tomorrow there, eh? Howdy, Hippie. Hippie Shake in the box. Odin's Raven is here as well. Good to see you there, bud. Hello, hello. Turtle's here. Hey, guy out in the woods tripping deer. Yeah, it's Turtle. Turtle's here. I don't hunt turtles. I do not hunt turtles. Yeah, there you go. Night owl. Yeah, to say the least. So thanks for joining me. Thanks for winding you down your weekend. Hope you had a great weekend. We had snow too there, eh? Took a quick little video of that. We'll have a look at that later. But yeah, we had some snow. Actually, here in the city, it was about an inch, and it didn't accumulate. It melted. But out further, closer to the mountains, it was about 3 feet of snow. Started at about 9 a.m. And I think that's why we got skunked. I think that's why we got skunked. Just all the critters decided to hunker down and wait out the snowfall a little bit. So, we got about an hour and a half worth of good hunting. And then it's slowly, a few flakes. And by 11 a.m., it was, what I would call, a snowfall, not a blizzard by any means, just, the snow falling. We're like, great. Snow is a 4-letter word, Turtle. Yeah. Oh, well, what are you going to do? Sandra says, I'm a night owl also. Just did a 42-hour awake round. So I'm yawning. Wow. Well, Tartle's in her jammies right now, apparently. So thank you. I appreciate that, Olivia. I know it's like 3 hours later than I normally would go to do the live show. So thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Channel 53. Trying to sneak by me there. I saw you there, bot. How you doing? Thank you. Thank you for being here. All right. Enough messing around. Glad everybody's doing well. Hopefully you don't have snow where you are. But hopefully if you're a deer tripper, you managed to trip some deer as they were scurrying by on the deer path on the game trail. You're just scampering along and you just stick out your leg and then your foot. Just trip them. So if you're out deer tripping this weekend, I hope you managed to trip some deer. All right, let me so this is stuff that just kind of came up, in various feeds on this kind of half decent. I mean, I said it's snowing, but it's not really cold. It's -1 Celsius. That's 30 degrees Fahrenheit on the button. So it's, and again, the snow is, an inch or two, a few centimeters. Could certainly be a lot worse than that. Anyways, yeah, some stuff that just comes up randomly in my feeds and whatnot. I'm like, wait, what's this? That's interesting. So I'm just going to kind of share them in no particular order, just kind of randomly here. This first one is from msn.com. And again, take all of this with a grain of salt. We're going to go through this here and see what they have to say and what's the deal. But this first one is 8,500-year-old underwater city discovered in Denmark. Stone Age Atlantis reveals ancient human life. It's not super current or recent, so I don't know why it just popped up. This is from 2 months ago, September 3rd, 2025, but I hadn't heard this. Mind you, I don't sit down and watch the evening news, right? For obvious reasons. So let's have a quick peekaboo at what this article has to say here. Dragon Sage in the box. Good to see you. How's she going there, eh? Odin's Raven said almost ran over a deer and a bear this weekend. You got to drive on the road there, bud. If you go just plowing through the woods, you're bound to strike some wildlife. Although that's an easy way to trip a deer, is you trip it with your vehicle. It's very efficient. Anyway, yikes. Scientists have found an 8,500-year-old human settlement under the sea near Denmark. The small city went underwater when the last ice age ended. As huge ice sheets melted, the sea levels rose and covered the city. Well, that's one theory or hypothesis. I mean, they're presenting it as warranty guaranteed, lock it in your pocket and take it straight to the bank. Fact written in stone, but we all know that ice age and all that is all just best guess scenario. Anyways, the city, sometimes called the Stone Age Atlantis, was discovered in Denmark's Bay of Aarhus. I'm going to butcher all of these. I'm going to tell you right now. I'm sorry in advance for all of my Danish buddies, all you friends from Denmark. Archaeologists dug a small area of about 430 square feet. It's around 200 square meters-ish. Found stone tools, arrowheads, animal bones, and a piece of wood that may have been a tool. These findings show that people once lived here and had organized ways of life. Well, yeah, if you're disorganized, it's kind of hard to have, tools and arrowheads and stone tools if you're disorganized. Okay. Goes without saying. Underwater archaeologist Peter Mo Astrup. Really? This guy's middle name is Mo. All right. Anyways, he says the place is like a time capsule because it's under the sea without oxygen. Due to which everything is perfectly preserved. For this place, time just stopped. If it's just stopped, then how are they able to date it? They can't carbon date it if time stopped. Scientists believe the sea may be hiding more clues about how people lived in the Mesolithic era. They hope to find fishing tools, harpoons, and other objects that show how humans survived on the coast. Discovery helps researchers understand what people ate, tools they made, and how they adapted when the world around them changed. What happens if it changed super suddenly, though? You don't have time to adapt. This apparently is the thing, by the way. It's kind of neat. This discovery comes from a 6-year project worth $15.5 million. Is that Danish dollars? Where scientists are exploring the bottom of the Baltic and North Seas. The mission aims to explore sunken Stone Age settlements in Northern Europe. Wood and chrome. Rock Roth in the box. Good to see you. This summer, researchers went 26 feet under the sea near Aarhus and used a special underwater vacuum to collect hidden artifacts. Yeah, that sounds delicate and careful. Suck it up with a vacuum there, bud. Should be fine. Yeah, but I thought this is supposedly thousands of years old. It might be very fragile and brittle. No, it's time stood still down here, eh? She's like new. Suck her up, bud. They carefully scanned every part of the area and pieced together the objects to learn about the people who live there. Next, scientists plan to evacuate 2 more locations in the North Sea, which will be harder because of the sea's conditions. By studying these ancient settlements, researchers hope to learn how humans adapted to rising sea levels and changing coastlines, which can help us tackle similar challenges today. It doesn't help with the theory, though, that there was actually just a giant inland sea on top of some ice somewhere over North America, in and around the Hudson's Bay here in Canada land, and it was dammed up by ice and so on, and that for some reason that ice dam gave way, or perhaps something from the sky crashed down and caused the water to break out of that icy bowl it was in and splash into the ocean, and it effed up the ocean currents and all kinds of stuff and affected this salt content in the oceans. I don't know, but we've all heard that stuff. But I find this interesting because, no kidding, you're going to be finding buried cities, whether it's buried under the terra firma, under the ground, or whether they're buried under bodies of water, be it lakes, be it the oceans, whatever. So this is nothing new to folks in our line of thinking. But it's funny how we see a lot more and more of this now popping up in, quote unquote, mainstream news, mainstream media, right? And I think it's because of communication and technology that people have and how we're able to communicate and kind of check things out for ourselves now. It's getting harder and harder for them to hide stuff. So they basically have to kind of start slowly leaking some of this out, and then instead just put their spin on the narrative about the existence of said thing and its rediscovery, because they can't really hide things anymore. I mean, there's people building submarines and going down and exploring bodies of water on their own to varying degrees of success, but you get what I'm getting at. That's why there's more and more restrictions on things, is that they don't want you going out into the realm on your own and exploring things. No. Just take our word for it that Captain James Cook found that, and it's right where we say it is there, right? But it comes to a certain point where it gets tougher and tougher to do that. So I think they got to slowly kind of, in a slow drip, they have to sort of come clean with some of the stuff. But again, they're going to pepper it with half-truths and all that sort of nonsense. You mix lies with truth, and it becomes hard to sift through all of that stuff. It's hard to filter out all the crap.
Oh shit!
I think you get what I'm saying. Anyway, let's have a look at this next one here. Again, no particular order, just kind of randomly as I just bookmarked page or what have you. This one is from indie100.com. I never heard of this, but it's some kind of online magazine or something. I don't know. Indie100. The news democracy. That doesn't sound good, but anyway. Spectacular hidden structures discovered deep beneath Antarctica. Okay. Let's see what these folks have to say. Scientists just found 322 giant trenches under Antarctica. Very interesting. A whopping 300 water canyons, have been discovered by researchers across Antarctica, some reaching the depths of 400 meters or 13,123 feet. All thanks to new high-resolution bathymetric data. Bathymetric? I've never heard of that, so pardon me. Scientists from University College Cork in Ireland and the University of Barcelona in Spain were able to locate the concealed canyons, and their findings have been published in the Marine Geology Journal. It's kind of a weird. How do these folks meet? From the University College in Cork and the University of Barcelona, Spain. How do they bump into each other and both realize, hey, we're both into exploring the Antarctic? So what experts say? Some of the submarine canyons were analyzed. Reached depths of 4,000 meters, said David Amblas of the Consolidated Research Group on Marine Geosciences at UB's Faculty of Earth Sciences. Sure, okay. The most spectacular of these are in the East Antarctica, which is categorized by complex branching canyon systems. The systems often begin with multiple canyon heads near the edge of the continental shelf and converge into a single main channel that descends into the deep ocean, crossing the sharp, steep gradients of the continental slope. Sounds kind of strange, if you ask me. They're talking about all of the. I'm guessing they're telling us this is Eastern Antarctica, EA1 and EA2, EA3, so Eastern. I don't know. that's what that actually means. But so I guess they're talking about these branches or fissures. They're calling them channels or underwater canyons. I mean, if we were even to accept that this is what Antarctica is, and it is what they say it is, and it is where they say it is, but it wasn't discovered until fairly recently in the grand scheme of things, even though you could basically island hop from quote unquote Antarctica to South America with a half decent seaworthy vessel and a handful of fellas. But I don't know, I didn't discover it until like 18, whatever. And they put a whaling station there or something ridiculous. At least that's what they told me when I was in school up here in Canada, Land. So thanks to the high resolution of the new bathymetric database, 500 meters per pixel compared to the 1 to 2 kilometer per pixel of previous maps, we could apply semi-automated techniques more reliably to identify, profile, and analyze submarine canyons. Thanks to high resolution of the new bathymetric database. I don't know what bathymetrics is. Let me just quickly look that up, even just on the goggle machine for a second here, just to see what we're dealing with. Bathymetric refers to the study of underwater depth and topography. Okay, so it's basically scanning underwater, the land underwater, for lack of a better phrase. Okay, sure. So all of a sudden they've increased the resolution of their bathymetric database twofold. And then they could apply semi-automated techniques. That's very vague. More reliably, to identify profile. So AI now. So they're using AI is what they're saying. So it's a stupid ass machine giving you best guess instead of stupid ass humans giving a best guess. Yeah, seems fine. I'm not really getting it.
Well, that's just silly.
Silly, yes. Idiotic, yes.
The researchers also developed GIS software script that allows them to, quote, calculate a wide range of canyon-specific morphometric parameters in just a few clicks. They can calculate a wide range of canyon-specific morphometric parameters. Word salad, people. Word salad. What do these canyons look like? Not all the canyons are the same, depending on location on the continent. The canyons in the east are described as having a more complex and branched, often forming extensive canyon channel systems. The typical U-shape across cross-section. Then in contrast, the ones in the west are shorter and steeper, categorized by V-shaped cross-sections. Therefore, researchers believe the East Antarctica ice sheet is older than the West. It has experienced a more prolonged development. How could that one side of the same ice sheet be older than the other side? Like it formed starting in the East, and it took longer to form in the West end of the continents? Am I understanding that correctly?
That doesn't make sense.
I don't know. This had been suggested by sedimentary record studies, Amblas noted, but it hadn't yet been described in large-scale seafloor geomorphology. We know Antarctica to be a chilly place. Chilly! It's an understatement. Again, if what they tell us about is to be believed, it's more than just chilly. While ice is clear to see above the surface, below there is rock where canyons and mountain peaks can be found, reminiscent of the continents we live on. Ah, yeah, so there we go. And as we can see on old maps, by the way, where they show mountains and vegetation. Oh, and animals too, by the way. This kind of research into underwater canyons is important since they contribute to the ocean circulation, yada, yada. Ah, okay. They don't really tell us about the northern or southern slopes of the ice sheet, though, in this article. They just mention east and the west, and that's it. But yeah, so talking about these canyon channels that are older on this side than on this side because they're U-shaped, and these ones are V-shaped. That's science, people. Pure, exacting science. That was from Indy 100. Speaking of chambers and channels and Indy 100, this article is from a little bit more recently, September 20th. Sorry, I missed when that other one was from. Let's see here. The previous one about the hidden Antarctica. By the way, the headline says spectacular hidden structures. But then they go on to say that they're just naturally formed channels. So structures maybe not. I mean, technically it's correct, but maybe not the best word. But anyway, this article was from October 20th. So yeah, only about a month ago or so. And this upcoming one, as mentioned, from September 20th. Again, this is from indy100.com. Take it for what it is, with a grain of salt, of course, because I'd never heard of indy100.com. Hippie Shake says if that's the case, one side is older than the other, that means the ice sheet is still growing, not melting, as they try to make out. Ah, that's a good point. That's a good point. That's right. When they try to come at you with the climate chain, I'm telling you about the poor penguins and the polar bears, penguins in the south and polar bears in the north that soon won't have any ice left to scamper upon where people can come and trip them. And it's all our fault because of the climate change. But yeah, that would mean that this is slowly still developing. When Chrome says break on through to the other side. Yes, very possibly they do go side to side from end to end. Sig is in the box. Sig Sauer. Hello, hello. Good to see you. Anyway, this next one, again from Indy 100. So, as mentioned, I'd never heard of these, but this is chamber discovered deep within Great Pyramid of Giza. Could be missing piece of the puzzle. How many times have we heard that? And this could finally solve the Pyramid of Giza mystery. Been hearing that for 30 or 40 years of my life. I don't know about you. Anyways, the ancient Egyptians are known for their extraordinary works of art and architecture. Yet experts are also interested in the gaping voids they left behind. Indeed, deep within the Great Pyramid of Giza, there exists a massive sealed space, which, though empty, continues to fascinate archaeologists. How do they know it's empty? I've been hearing about a void in the Great Pyramid for about, 5 or 6 years now, through like LiDAR and stuff. So I don't know why all of a sudden everybody's getting all hyped up, getting amped, as the kids would say, about some void in the pyramids, unless this is another void. Anyways, we'll read on and find out, I guess. The purpose of the room, which dates back to when the iconic pyramid was completed some 4,500 years ago, has remained a mystery since it was discovered in 2017. Oh yeah, see, this is the same one, I think. why are we all of a sudden relaunching this into the public consciousness? What's their ulterior motive with this? I like how they, first of all, they call it a room, which really it's just a void. So it could be anything. I mean, yeah, it could be a room, but I mean, it could be a chamber with tunnels. It could be. But they say it was completed at the same time as the pyramid. Well, yeah, if it's a room or a void in that pyramid, then yeah, I guess it would be completed at the same time. Back then, a team known as Scan Pyramid scanned the Great Pyramid using something called muon tomography, which basically uses cosmic rays to penetrate hundreds of meters of stone and detect what lies within. Cosmic rays? What is this, a Marvel comic? Who's writing this? Stan Lee? By using this tech, the researchers unearthed the strange chamber that had never been seen before. We report discovery of a large void, there it is, with a cross-section similar to that of the Grand Gallery, at a minimum length of 30 meters or 98 feet, situated above the Grand Gallery. They wrote in a paper in their findings published in the journal Nature. This constitutes the first major inner structure found in the Great Pyramid since the 19th century. The first picture, yeah, okay. Everybody knows the Great Pyramid. At least they're not calling, I was just going to say, at least they're not calling it the Khufu's Pyramid anymore. But there it is, built by Khufu, which is not true. Yeah, that's right. That's right, Wooden Chrome. Cosmic rays, oh my. Ah, it's science. Yes, science. That's true, Kathy. Kathy Broughton in the box saying pyramids can be found all over the realm. Absolutely. Even up here in Canada land. So a number of theories. Oh, wait, sorry. I skipped ahead here, didn't I? Yeah. They christened the chamber aptly the Big Void. Now represents a gap in our understanding of the iconic Egyptian landmark. A number of theories now exist as to the purpose of the space, with some suggesting it was a secret burial chamber for the pharaoh Khufu who ordered the pyramid to be built. There's no proof that Khufu built this pyramid, except for some scribblings on a stone up above the queen's chamber that you have to bust through a wall to get through to see, and the scribblings say Kaffa or something like that. But Egyptologists say, no, that says Khufu. That means that it was the Egyptian pharaoh Khufu. And because his name is on one stone in here, not carved in, tink, 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 by the way, scribbled in some kind of, I don't know, dye or ink or paint or something, that means that he built this pyramid. It's ridiculous. But anyways, moving on. Before I get into too much of a rant. What? Kathy says there's a pyramid in West Virginia. Oh, look at that. That's interesting. However, the sarcophagus was opened, or when the sarcophagus was opened, it was empty. Yeah, because these pyramids are not burial chambers. That's why there's a Valley of the Kings, where you find all the remains of all the pharaohs, hence the name the Valley of the Kings. So why would they bury the kings and the pharaohs in the Valley of Kings, but also bury them in pyramid tombs? Take off. Doesn't make sense. It was therefore largely assumed the remains of the king had been stolen. And yet some experts had been positing for years, long before the Big Void's discovery, that somewhere in the pyramid existed a secret fourth chamber containing Khufu's mummy. In 2004, two amateur French Egyptologists put forward the theory that there was an extra chamber using ground-penetrating radar and archaeological analysis to back up their claims, as IFL Science notes. The pair argued that rather than being carefully designed in advance, the pyramid evolved as construction went on. Can you imagine that? Building something that big and fairly precise, even for modern times, never mind for its day. And again, its day is only what they tell us, about 4,500 years ago. And that they kind of built it on the fly and changed it on the fly as they went. Yet meanwhile, there's other pyramids. Did they just kind of go all willy-nilly during the construction phase and it evolved as it went on with those two? Besides, the pyramids are not four-sided. They're eight-sided if you look carefully at a certain time of day when the light hits it just right. Each side is slightly concave a little bit, right down the middle, from the tippy top to the base. Valley of the Kings was made up by UNESCO? That's a new one on me. I never heard that. I mean, I've seen independent journalists do documentaries on site in the Valley of the Kings. Unless it was just regular folks' tombs and they said, oh no, these were kings and pharaohs in here. I mean, who knows, right? Again, I've never been there, so I don't know. Duke Raoul in the box. Hello. Good to see you. Anyway, moving on here. One of the duo, architect Gilles Dormion, suggested the pyramid's builders had to alter their plans after realizing that certain chambers wouldn't take the weight of the burial sarcophagus. By the way, that thing they call a sarcophagus is not proportionally correct size to lay a body down in. Guy would have to be like 4.5 feet tall. Dormion pointed to the existence of large cracks in the giant granite beams that line the king's chamber, which have long been attributed to earthquakes that occurred following the pyramid's construction. He conversely theorized that instead these cracks may have emerged during the building process. Nevertheless, while experts haven't yet been able to confirm whether or not the Big Void is indeed a secret Khufu burial chamber, they might soon be able to. In 2022, a team led by Alan Bross, a staff scientist at Fermi National Accelerator Laboratory in Illinois, announced their plans to image the pyramid using a more sophisticated muon technology. We plan to field a telescope system that has upwards of 100 times the sensitivity of the equipment that has recently been used in the Great Pyramid, the team wrote in a study published in the Journal for Advanced Instrumentation in Science. Oh, where can a guy get his hands on that to read up on that article? Howdy, Vaughn. Vaughn in the box from down under says, good day from the bus full of kids. I'll be lurking. Yeah, get off the phone and get on. Keep your eyes on the road there, eh, bot? Think of the children. Good to see you, Vaughn. This, they say, will image muons from nearly all angles and will, for the first time, produce a true tomographic image of such a large structure. Tomographic? 2 years on, their work has yet to be carried out. So it's pretty big talk. You can talk. Can you walk the walk? So the whereabouts of Khufu's remains. See, now they're just plain blatantly saying, flat out, these are Khufu's remains, Khufu's pyramid. And the purpose of that hidden chamber remain a big void in our knowledge of the Great Pyramid. See what they did there? It's a big void. Hardy, har. So again, my apologies. I don't know why this was reintroduced as some new headline from September of this year. I guess because these guys said that they were going to go with even more better equipment. But so far they haven't. So I'm not. What's all the with all the hubbub, bub? They could drive if they want, says Vaughn. uh, even if they can't, they'll tell you they can. Kids today, they'd be like, I can drive this. Get away from me, fool. Galaxy or dailygalaxy.com is this next article from July. Seem to be going back here. So like 3 or 4 months ago now, but it's fine. Again, I've never heard of dailygalaxy.com, but it just kind of came up. And I thought, okay, sure. A lost city from Peru's ancient past was just uncovered. Hey, look, it's the thumbnail, eh? Just because of LiDAR, they're finding a lot more of these. And these are cities that had been written about supposedly by early explorers going down and exploring in and around the Amazon basin, as little as 300 years ago, 400 years ago. And they were told, no, around 400 or 500 years ago. And they were told there's these big cities with hundreds of thousands of people in each one of them, sometimes up to close to 1 million. And everybody's like, get out of here. Get out of here. I don't even believe you, man. And like a couple of 100 years later, other explorers went down to try to find these places. And by then they had all been abandoned and grown over, we're told. Reclaimed by the jungle. And only in recent years with new modern technology are we able to use the LiDAR and the whatnots to penetrate the foliage on the jungle and see what's actually built under the ground down there. And some of this stuff's pretty fascinating, if you ask me. So this one, as mentioned, is from July. Let's see what they have to say here. A fascinating discovery in Peru has unveiled the remnants of a 3,500-year-old city. A hidden gem from the ancient Americas. The city named Peñaco, I'm going to go with Peñaco, offers new insights into the region's historical development and its connections with the Americas' eldest civilization, Caral. I'm gonna go with Caral. I'm gonna roll the R a bit. Caral. Now, if this is America's oldest civilization, why have I never heard of the Caral? And when they say the Americas, I guess they mean North, Central, and South America? After 8 years of intensive research and excavation, archaeologists have uncovered 18 structures ranging from residential homes to ceremonial temples, all nestled in the Lima region. Lima, Peru. Yeah, look at this place, man. It looks pretty huge. It's funny how this, though, doesn't look quite as ancient, although looking very ancient. Does this look even more ancienter? Does this look older than this? Or is it just more simple and therefore just looks more primitive? Like maybe these were stables and a pen for livestock or something like that. I don't know. But this looks older yet than this. And why does this look like it's already been buried or mud flooded looks like it's built, quote unquote, built on a hillside? I don't know. A strategic location for trade. Oh, Peñaco was built around 1800 BC, long after the Caral civilization, which had flourished around 3000 BC. The decline of Caral, attributed to climate change, paved the way for the rise of Peñaco. Situated nearly half a mile above sea level, the city was strategically positioned to foster trade between various ecological zones, coastal regions, mountains, and jungles. Oh, they got the big three down there, eh? The coast, the mountains, and the jungles. You can get the lions, the tigers, and the bears. Oh my. Dragon Sage in the box says triangular is supposed to be where Anu and Enlil or Enki. Yeah, Enlil/Enki are from. Oh, really? Thought that was they from like Sumerian? Weren't they Sumerian? I don't know. But they're from Sumerian lore, right? Anyway, I lost my place. Sorry. Experts believe this central location enabled Peñaco to serve as a bustling urban hub, linking settlements across the Supe and Huera Mountains. I don't speak Spanish. As well as the Andean and Amazonian territories. So quite the trade network. This should come as no surprise to folks like us, though, right? These massive, intricate trade networks. Seems like a surprise to the experts here, though. Ruth Shady, director of the Corral Archaeological Zone, known as ZAC. Ruth Shady. She elaborated, stating that Peñaco developed following the cultural tradition of Corral due to its prime position, which facilitated trade and social interaction. The location's proximity to the hills also offered protection against natural disasters like flooding and mudslides, contributing to the city's long-lasting resilience. Doesn't look like they dodged this mudslide. As you can see, this portion and the surrounding land are basically at the same level. But then you got to go down a bunch of levels and steps and all kinds of levels and buildings, yada, 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 all the way down here. So perhaps not so much there, Ms. Shady. Remarkable structures and cultural discoveries. The excavation has revealed a variety of significant structures, each with its own story to tell. One of the standout features is a building known as B2. Oh, what an intriguing name. B2. I got to look more into B2. Howdy, Morgan. Morgan's in the box. Good to see you, sir. Located in the city's central plaza, the building is particularly noteworthy for its intricate reliefs, which include depictions of putatus, conch shell trumpets essential in Andean society. Patutus, which are conch shell trumpets. Okay. These trumpets were used in rituals, as well as for convening meetings and making public announcements. Why does everything supposedly revolve around rituals and burial tombs? I think when you hear of the so-called experts say, oh, this building or this structure or these sets of structures were either for religious purposes or spiritual or something like that, or if they say either that or that it was some kind of ceremonial gathering place, then that's archaeological science talk for just shrugging their shoulders. Yeah, we have no idea. So when we have no idea what this is for, we'll say it's for some kind of religious or ritual thing. Artifacts found at the site complement these structures and shed light on the daily lives of the people who inhabited Peñaco. Archaeologists unearthed a range of objects, including jewelry, tools, figurines, and ceremonial items. Again, that's nice and vague. Ceremonial items, you say? Really? Okay. Among these, evidence suggests that B2 served as a center for administrative and ideological gatherings, positioning it as one of the most important buildings within the city. Other residential and ceremonial buildings were also uncovered. Hematite and trade in the Supe Valley. One particularly intriguing aspect of the discovery is the possible role of hematite or hematite in Peñaco's prosperity. Hematite is a mineral prized for its red pigment. It was likely extracted and traded by the inhabitants of the city. The mineral was a commodity used for pottery, painting, and other cultural activities, and researchers believe its distribution may have contributed to Peñaco's integration into the broader trade networks of the Supe Valley. So yeah, just they used LiDAR to see these places, and then they're able to get down there and poke around. And of course, they say, "Oh, these are ceremonial places," and so on and whatnot. Yeah, cousin Vinny on Freemason in the box says, "I was taught ancient people spent half of every day doing ceremonies." Yeah, they don't have time to build these structures and keep hacking away at the jungle growth that's constantly trying to reclaim these places. You know, didn't have time for building and trading and carving tools and figurines and trading hematite. They were too busy praying and doing ceremonies. Sheesh. Kathy Broughton's like, they weren't out being hunters and gatherers? I guess not. SG Mar, Sandra, in the box says, exactly, Frankie. They have to guess. And they get brownie points for best story, too. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, all of this is all theoretical best guess. You just tell people enough times and they just accept it as, oh, yeah, the experts said so it's got to be true, right? It's got to be true because that's what the experts say. But I don't know. Guess is as good as mine. A lot of the stuff. And again, you got to take everything with a grain of salt. And I just found that the subject matter of a lot of this stuff that was popping up was just very, very interesting to me. It was just something that I was like, it seems to be popping up a lot for some reason. I wonder why that would be. Speaking of which, I think we're getting ready to make take a mid-show break here, quick, fast, and in a hurry, and give you a sneak peek at your upcoming midweek vintage footage video. Where are we coming up on here? The hour. Coming up on the hour. So yeah, if you're new to the channel, or as a reminder, every Sunday, do the live show here. Wednesday, I do a vintage footage video where I find old footage, put it together with some music. I try to keep it Canadian content, but not always. Sometimes it's just very, very striking, or it's topical, something that's very current. It reflects current events, even though it might be video from, 100 plus years ago. So every Wednesday I put that up, vintage footage, and I always give you a sneak peek here on the Sunday live show. And of course, Friday you get some boots on the ground. So speaking of ancient places and their discoveries or rediscoveries, I guess, really more accurately. This Wednesday's vintage footage coming up is about Angkor Wat. I've got some old Angkor Wat video footage. I believe this is from the 1920s. It's about 4 minutes long. This is Angkor Wat. We'll see you on the other side of 4 minutes. Vintage footage. Stick around. Be right back. All right, everyone? Thanks. Cheers. Bye. There I am. And we are back. Hello. Howdy, everyone. Frankie here, New West Reset. Welcome back. Thank you very much for joining me here for another live one, New West Reset Live, episode 146. We're looking at some interesting, alluring headlines about ancient places being discovered, or probably rediscovered is a better word to use. Thank you for joining me. Thanks for winding down your weekend here on the Sunday Fun Day show. Woo! Thanks for winding down your weekend here with yours truly. And thanks for joining me on the later start time on this. I usually go 5 p.m. local time, Mountain Time. The scheduled for 8 p.m. Mountain Time. Because I went hunting with my daddy today. We went deer tripping. We didn't trip any deer, though, unfortunately. And it kind of sort of started to snow. And then, when it's snowing, even if it's not incredibly cold or windy, the deer will hunker down and kind of wait it out for a bit before they start grazing and so on. So, and we got skunked. We saw a couple of deer, but it was on land marked, no hunting, no trespassing. So you can't just blast them and sneak on there, eh? It's called poaching, and you'll get in some big trouble there, bud. They'll suspend your hunting license and all your permits, and they'll take your boom sticks away from you for a bit there to keep don't be doing that there. So the deer, I swear they can read. They can read the sign posted on the barbed wire fence that says no hunting trespassing. So they just hop over the fence and graze over there. And you hike or drive by in the 4x4 or whatever, and you see them, and they basically flip you the bird. So that's great. Anyway, thanks for joining me here. Appreciate all of you being here. We're looking at some of these weirdo headlines. Very interesting. And that's why I started the show late. So thanks for joining me. Top half of the show, we looked at 3 or 4 different articles. I think it was 4, actually. Took a quick little mid-show break. Gave you a sneak peek at your upcoming Wednesday vintage footage video of that was Angkor Wat, and correction, not from the 20s, from the 1930s. So roughly 100 years, give or take a $5. What'd you think of that? Huh? It's pretty interesting. Yes, dancing girls, says Dragon Sage. There you go. Odin's Raven says it was amazing. Yes, thank you very much. Hippie makes a good point. Looks like an early film is, a lot of stuff is quite overgrown. Yeah, they hadn't cleared her out for the tourists yet there, eh? Kathy Broughton says the place is amazing. Yeah, Angkor Wat is pretty incredible. Yeah, a lot of detail. That's in Cambodia, by the way. Cambodia. So what's this? I think this is one last article, actually. Then we'll have a look at some other stuff here and wind it down. Should get laid even for me there, eh? Steve Q17. Yes, poor Joe Rogan. 103 years young. Bless him. So this is from the dailygalaxy.com. This is their science heading. Archaeologists uncover evidence of high-tech machines used by ancient Egyptians to build the pyramids, thousands of years ahead of their time. This is also from July of this year. So new research apparently uncovers hidden secrets about the step pyramids construction, challenging everything we thought we knew about ancient Egyptian engineering. I thought they always tried to tell us step pyramids was a pyramid that wasn't finished, or they effed it up somehow. But then in the previous article about Egypt, where they discovered the void in there, they're saying, well, they just had to change the plans on the fly because the marble blocks or whatever in the king's chamber started to crack because it could support the weight of the
shenanigans.
Yeah, that basically sums it up pretty well. So anyways, new research has recently shaken up long-held ideas about how the ancient Egyptians built the Great Pyramids. While the traditional belief suggests the massive stone blocks were hauled up massive ramps by thousands of workers, a groundbreaking theory now suggests that Egyptians may have used a hydraulic lift system instead. and advanced technology that it could have enabled the construction of the pyramids with incredible precision. So on one hand, they can be so precise and thousands of years ahead of their time, but on the other hand, they can accidentally whoopsie-doopsie, crack some stones, so they have to alter the plans on the fly, but still manage to make an almost perfect pyramid, as in the Great Pyramid of Giza, in the aforementioned article. So which one is it there, bub? This new theory comes from a team of French, it's always the French, from French researchers led by Xavier Landreau, who published their findings in PLOS One. The research suggests that the step pyramid of Djoser, I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm going to go with Djoser with a silent D. You know what? I'm going to give it the silent J treatment. I'm going to call it Dozer. What do you think of that? Step pyramid of Dozer, built around 2680 BC, was constructed with the help of water-powered engineering. Let's take a deeper dive into this exciting theory and what it could mean for our understanding of ancient Egyptian technology. So the hydraulic lifts over ramps theory. Well, the ramps, because to get the stones all the way up to the tippy tops of pyramids, if they're not building it in steps and then later filling it in to make it smooth, the ramp would have to be larger than and made of more stones or materials in general than the pyramids themselves, so as not to be too steep of an angle so you couldn't drag the stones up in the first place. You see what I'm saying? Like, is it me or I don't know.
I don't believe you.
Anyway, moving on. This new theory comes from Team French researchers, yada, yada, yada. Okay, hydraulic lifts over ramps. For a century, historians and archaeologists have agreed, have they? Okay, that the Egyptian pyramids were built using ramps. Large mud brick structures that allowed workers to haul massive stone bricks into place. But Landreau's team challenges this idea with a bold new theory. The construction of the pyramids may have involved a hydraulic lift system powered by Wasser. By water, you say? Yeah, I do too, Steve. Steve Q in the box says, I disagree with ramps. They used sound, says Sandra Marr in the box. Yes, I've heard that too. Very, very interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, hold my beer. We'll get the water out. We'll show you how she's done there, bud. Hold my beer. So their research found evidence that an advanced system that could have raised the blocks from the core of the pyramid. The theory hinges on the idea that rather than lifting stones using steep ramps, the Egyptians might have floated them up using hydraulic pressure. This volcano construction technique, as they called it, would have involved lifting stones using water to create buoyancy inside the pyramid's central shafts, allowing blocks to be placed with great precision. The team's investigation focused on several features of the Saqqara Plateau, where the step pyramid stands. They looked at topography, hydrology, and even satellite imagery, which led them to suggest that ancient Egyptians could have harnessed water from nearby wadis, ephemeral, I don't know, whatever, streams, to power these hydraulic systems. Ephemeral streams. Ephemeral? I don't know how to pronounce that. So this is what they're saying. Lower drainage divide, yada, yada, yada. Dozer complex. Upper drainage basin. Okay. So what are they floating the rocks up with? Just with water pressure? The pressure is enough to push the rock up? Wouldn't it just come shooting up or collide up into something? I don't know. Have I not been sharing this article this whole time, by the way? Have I just been reading aloud to you, but not sharing it? Is that what's been going on? Ah, see, there we go. I'm sorry about that. So here's the image. It's amateur hour here on the show. So here's the image. I guess this is what. Oh, it's taken from the movie 10,000 BC. So that's completely accurate because it's, Hollywood, and they're totally accurate. So these hydraulic lifts, which in some, I could at least argue that almost anything's better than the ramp theory. So this area is here, almost at the Nile Delta. And this is the Dozier complex. West-east slope, which is 0.7 to 1 degree of a slope. And they're saying that these are the paleo channels the water traveled down. So they were able to channel water from here, down here, to the job site, and then somehow build pressure to lift stones to build the step pyramid. I'm just not very good with technology, but that may also have occurred. I'm not saying, I'm just saying. So let's get a little more into it now that we can all kind of read along. So it's sort of the hydraulic system. Okay, so hydraulic components. Geyser El Mundir and the dry moat. Crucial part of this theory is the Geyser El Mundir structure, a massive enclosure west of the pyramid that has puzzled archaeologists for years. The researchers proposed that this structure wasn't just a ceremonial or decorative feature, but rather a functional check dam designed to trap sediment and manage water flow. So finally, some people are saying it may not just be only used for ceremonies there, Bod. So by regulating the flow of the water from the nearby Abu Sir Wadi, the enclosure could have ensured a steady supply of water to power the hydraulic system used to lift the stones. This theory gains further support by the dry moat that surrounds the pyramid, originally thought to be purely symbolic. See, again, we don't know what it did, so we're going to say it's ceremonial or symbolic or religious, or there's a dead guy buried in it. The moat may have been an active water filtration system, helping to clean the water before it was used in the pyramid's construction. By examining the structure of the moat and the presence of deep rock-cut compartments, the team concludes it may have functioned as part of a larger water management system, controlling both the water quality and its flow to the pyramid's central shafts. What if all of this water connection thing is true? However, rather than it being used to construct the pyramid, what if this water was used in conjunction with an already constructed pyramid for a completely different purpose than any of the proposals that we've ever been told about in school or in any other kind of research after official schooling? It seems like star forts and other large megalithic structures that we were told are super duper ancient, man. These things have been built by some kind of ancient civilization who were primitive, but somehow managed these completely complicated and super symmetrical, massive structures while they're eking out a living in the forest or the jungle or the desert, trying to rub two sticks together while they're eating bugs or whatever, right? And scribbling on caves and warring with one another and hunting and gathering and tripping deer. and wiping out buffalo by overhunting them, and wiping out mastodons by overhunting them. So there's all these contradictions all the time in the official narrative. But what if this was basically just another type of structure like a star fort that worked in unison with water and had something to do with water in a different way than just they floated rocks up there, but so they could build it? Which is still, in my opinion, a better theory than the ramp theory. Big ass that ramp would have to be to push and haul stones up a bit to get to the top of a big ass Egyptian pyramid? Come on now. Come on, man. It's just kooky. So then we have another diagram here. The south shaft. Water from the Abusir floodplain. Compartment 2. So it's building up pressure from here along this to here. And then it builds up more pressure here. And the pressure is enough to push stones up? Or was it on top of some kind of floating platform and would slowly rise, like the lock system that ships use in canals and seaways? Where, like in the St. Lawrence Seaway, the St. Lawrence River, for example. To get past the rapids near Montreal, they had to build a series of locks in a canal off to the side of the river for the big ocean liners to be able to get past that point to get from the Atlantic Ocean to the Great Lakes. And that was one of the obstacles. So they built the locks. The ship sails into a compartment filled with water, and they either raise it or lower it to the next section. So wouldn't some kind of primitive lock system work where they just put the rock on a platform made out of wood or whatever? And yeah, I guess they would just fill it. You wouldn't need that much pressure, though, I don't think. You'd just fill it. It's just displacement, isn't it? I don't know. I'm not a scientist guy. Dragon Sage says, our minds are powerful and our hearts are unstoppable. I would agree with that. And Kathy says they don't want us to know how powerful we are. Yeah. They keep us confused about our past, right? So we don't have anything to latch onto, which we in turn cannot use as a springboard to continue to propel us forward and higher and better. It's like wandering around in the dark looking for the little chain to turn the light on. Click. You're just fumbling around with your hands, knocking crap over. You know what I'm saying? Egyptians were no strangers to hydraulic engineering. They mastered the art of using waterways for irrigation, transportation, and even for lifting heavy objects. Well, there it is. Such as transporting large stone blocks via barges. However, the discovery of a hydraulic lift system within the step pyramid suggests that their technological prowess may have been even greater than we realized. It's the same principle, it's just vertically instead of horizontally. Duke Rose says, rocks don't float real well. And Sandra says, amen, Duke. Yeah. Morgan in the box says, the only reason for a city is to house services for farmers in one place created because the farm exists, not the city. For the city cannot exist until sons are born unto the good farmer. Yeah, if there wasn't the quote-unquote country, there wouldn't be a city. So Landro and his team argued that this form of hydraulic engineering would have been far ahead of its time, potentially predating any known water lifting technology by thousands of years. If proven true, this would add a remarkable layer to our understanding of ancient Egyptian innovation, showing how the Egyptians may have developed technology far ahead of its time. Either that or ancient Egypt wasn't as far back as you tell us it was. Because you've been monkeying around with the timeline, goofing around, taking out 1,000 years here, adding 100 years there, taking out 250 years here, putting in another 80 years over there. And don't forget, you got to switch from the whatever calendar to the Gregorian calendar. And then Jewish folks have their own calendar and Muslim folks have their own calendar. So the number that the year that they're in is different than the number that the year that we're in. And you see what I'm getting at here? It's all some big cockamamie modern art painting. It looks like a Jackson Pollock painting. Just a bunch of crud smushed on there. The findings also suggest that the pyramid builders could have achieved extraordinary levels of precision, which is evident in the meticulously crafted stone blocks in the internal architecture of the step pyramid. The shafts and tunnels inside the pyramid display an alignment and level of precision that would have been nearly impossible to achieve without advanced planning tools and construction techniques. You're missing a comma there. Advanced planning, comma, tools, and construction techniques. But Babylon Fox in the box. How you doing, Stephanie? Good to see you. Wait, what? I didn't miss it? No, I went on late. I started at 8 p.m. my time instead of 5 p.m. my time. I was out hunting with my dad. We were tripping deer. We were doing some deer tripping. Unanswered questions and the need for further exploration. While the hydraulic lift theory is exciting, it remains unconfirmed. Yeah, so's the ramp theory, but everybody seems to be on board with that one. We'll build a giant ramp twice the size nearly of the pyramid just to get the blocks up to the top of said pyramid that we're building. Okay, so how are we going to get the blocks up to the top of the ramp we're building? Well, we'll have to build a ramp to get to the top of the ramp to stack the blocks to make a ramp. Okay, so how are we going to build that ramp? Well, we'll need another ramp. Basically, we're going to need a series of ramps. The researchers call for more excavations, particularly around the connections between the dry moat, Geyser El Mudir, and the pyramid's internal shafts. These excavations could provide more concrete evidence to support the idea that the hydraulic systems played a significant role in pyramid construction. As the research into these ancient technologies continues, we may find that the pyramids were built not only with human ingenuity and determination, but also with the help of water, a resource that in ancient Egypt was likely seen as both a gift and a tool for monumental achievements. Well, even said in their own article earlier on that they used water for all kinds of stuff, including lifting stones. I don't understand what's so, I don't know, just seems like they're overcomplicating the pyramids on purpose to make them extra super duper mysterious. You know what I'm saying? Here I am, as in the box. Howdy, howdy. Good to see you. How you doing? Thanks for shooting in there. Sherry Ives is here as well. Cousin Vinny on Freemason says pyramids are such a great scam. Everybody focuses on all their ancient mystery attention on this one thing for decades. Yeah, well, for centuries, basically, at this point, right? Pyramids are fascinating. They are very alluring. I will admit that. I find them fascinating. I find the mystery or the mystery that's been built around them to be very, very interesting. And all the more mysterious is the fact that, pyramids aren't just in that region of the realm. They're all over the world. So anyways, this last article was, again, as a reminder, on the dailygalaxy.com science category. I just found that very, very interesting, as well as all of the other previous articles, which, as mentioned, links are in the description below. So I think I'm getting ready to wind this thing down here very, very shortly. Just a couple of things here that I want to quickly go over. I forgot something. Hang on. Hang on now. Slow it down there, bot. All right. Now I got my ducks in a row here. I got my shit together. Got my poop in a group. So as mentioned, every Sunday live show, every Wednesday vintage footage, old-timey video, Friday boots on the ground. I've got some excellent boots on the ground coming up here in the next few weeks. Hopefully the weather doesn't put too much of a damper on things, as we did get a little bit of snow. It wasn't too bad. I will share with you a little bit of what I did have here for snow. This was actually a forestry cut line that Dad and I were hiking along, looking for some deer to trip and take home and eat.
Yeah, kind of scenic, isn't it?
It's very beautiful. So that was just a very, very light snowfall. And then it started to get a little bit more, I don't want to say intense, because that makes it seem like it was a blizzard, but it started to get a little more serious. Now, mind you, this is getting pretty close to the mountains. So again, it's not like I got like 2 feet of snow or anything like that, but there is some snow out there. Again, luckily it wasn't too cold. It was about -3, maybe -5 Celsius, so around 30 to 25-ish, 30 to 27-ish Fahrenheit, give or take. It does look cold, but it also does look pretty. Yeah, well, I don't wear camo when I hunt, to be honest with you. I just wear, my dad does. He'll wear a camo jacket, but I just wear a dark brown wool pants, and I do wear sort of a green parka, but I wear a red vest over it. I'm old school. I wear the red vest, and I wear a red hat or a red toque. That hunter red, which is kind of an orangey red, almost like a construction pylon cone red. Doesn't matter how camoed up you are, the deer are going to spot you anyways. And by the time they see you, they've already smelled you. So they already know you're there. You see what I'm saying? Dragon Sage says he was born in 1970. So was I. Look at that. Look at that. Sage says, Alberta. Yep, that's deer country and elk country and moose country and bear country and wolf country and cougar country, Wolverine country, badger country, lynx country, bobcat country, bighorn sheep country, mountain goat country, bald eagle country, gray eagle country, hawk and peregrine falcon country. You get it. Buffalo country. And yes, most importantly of all, Duke's got it right there. Bigfoot country. You got a Duke rule. Sam Squatch for sure. Yes, apparently Alberta, there are no rats somehow. Somehow we've managed to build some kind of magical resistance force. Kind of like the Force in Star Wars, but only to keep rats away. there's rats to the east of us, rats to the west, rats to the north of us, and all the rest. But somehow they have not come into Alberta? I don't buy it. Oh, that ain't a rat there, eh, partner? That's just a big mouse there, bud. Just really well-fed mouse there, eh, buddy? Well, that too. Here I am. Trudeau stays away from Alberta. Yeah, no, we definitely have plenty of rats when it comes to politicians. Whoa, hey, now, I don't get political on the show. I just do lousy impressions and goofy voices. That's what I do around here.
You know what I mean? All right, we're having a good time.
What else have I got here? I think did I have some photos? I think I had a couple of photos as well. Oh yeah, this was this weird rock my dad found. Let me pull this up. Hang on here. My dad found a weird rock. Why is it not? Share the thing now. Come on now, computer. Share the thing. There we go. Look at this weird rock. So we had parked the truck along a forestry cut line off of a gravel dirt road out in the country. About 2 hours outside of Calgary. 2 hours northwest of Calgary. Park the truck and get out. Start heel toeing it into the woods. We got about 2 miles to go in. It's through a wooded area, kind of hilly. But at the bottom of this one short hill, maybe a couple hundred feet, maybe 10% grade to walk up. Not too bad. Get to the top, you come down, and when you get to the bottom on the other side, there's a nice valley that's there, and the deer like to come down there, num, 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 munch, 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 and they graze all in through there. So we figured if we could park our keisters along the tree line overlooking this here meadow, well, we'd be able to trip some deer. So Pops with his boom boom stick and me with the binoculars, we're looking and looking and looking. Nothing. Don't see hide nor hair of any deer. Of course, where we're allowed to hunt, we don't see them. We only see the deer standing on property that we're not allowed to hunt on. So we're there for a couple hours, and then it starts to snow, and we're like, well, this is BS. Let's move to another spot and see what's what. Because the deer are going to hunker down when it starts snowing anyway, so it's pretty much the day is shot. So we thought, well, we'll go for another hour or two, and if not, we'll break for lunch and see if the weather lets up, and then we'll come back out for an afternoon hunt. So we're hiked back to the truck. Dad goes to get in the truck, and he sees this rock on the ground. Now, it's about the size of a grapefruit. And it's just what looks like rounded river rock that's supposedly the action and the current of the water of the river over thousands of years has rounded and tumbled this rock to make it fairly roundish and smoothish. But what caught my Pops' eye was the fact that it was got these polka dots in this rock. And these polka dots are of a completely different kind of stone. It's very, very strange. In fact, you know what? Let me just do something here with it for a second. I'm going to open it up a different way here, and I can zoom in on the darn thing. But it's like those polka dots of a darker colored stone are more of a sandstone. It's a slightly softer stone, for lack of a better term. And the stone that it's encased in is a different kind of rock altogether. And it seems harder, more dense. If you see what I'm saying. Here, let me open it up here. Share it with you, and we'll zoom in on a little bit there, eh? So this portion here is like a sandstone, but this portion is, I don't know, like a river rock of some kind. But you can see it's got some strange bubblings around here and around here. And this is just one side. If, flipped around, it has, about 5 more on the other side. But they don't line up and go through and through, if you see what I'm saying. So it's not like this is long and cylindrical, and on the other end, on the other side of the rock, is the butt end of this thing going through. You know what I'm saying? Now, keep in mind, I found this on the ground, so there's some dirt on it. And of course, it's got some scratches, but your guess is as good as mine as to what's going on with this thing. Anyways, bless him. I asked my dad, can I have that rock? And he said, no. I said, I'm sorry, I found it. And my dad finds this kind of stuff fascinating. I mean, he was flipping his lid. So he said, no offense, Sonny Jim, but that's what he calls me, Sonny Jim. I don't know why, because my name is not Jim. I don't have a middle name, Jim. I don't even have an uncle, Jim. But anyway. So, and I get it. Finders keepers rules. Finders keepers, losers suck. I get it. And he likes that kind of shit. So, but what's weird looking, right? I never seen like that before in all my days. I'm like, I don't know what's going on with this thing. This thing's wacky and weird, man. Wacky and weird. Hippie Shake says that does look strange. Dragon Sage says that could be a dragon egg, Frankie. It's only the size of a grapefruit, though. Be a pretty weenie dragon, no? I don't know. Vaughn says, funny, my neighbor used to call me Sonny Jim all the time. Yeah, actually, my granddaddy used to call me Sonny Jim, and my dad called me Sonny Jim. It's a weird thing. Thank you very much. Wooden Chrome says, cool conglomerate rock. Have a nice week, Frankie and chat. Thank you very much, bud. Good to see you. Thanks for shooting in there, eh? Yeah, I know she's getting kind of late here, eh? It's coming up on 10 p.m. local time. 3/4 to the hour here. So I think I'm getting ready to wind this thing down here a little bit. See if I've got something here. I think for Kathy's Corner here, I think I do have something that Kathy sent me. See what oh yeah, because I know what's going on here. I know what's going on. Wednesday is American Thanksgiving, or I guess what you would call it in America. Thanksgiving. Wednesday, November 26th. Is that right? Is that Thanksgiving? Or is it the 28th? Friday the 28th. No, Friday the 28th is Black Friday. When's your Thanksgiving? Is it the 26th? Or is it the 24th? Anyways, your Thanksgiving's coming up. Right? So you're going to be seeing your family. They're going to want you to take the leftovers. I know that's what my mom does. My mom's always like, take some leftovers home with you. Ma, I didn't even bring anything to take the leftovers home in. I didn't bring a container, a Rubbermaid, a Tupperware, a Ziploc. None of the brand name food storage things. I didn't bring it. I've got plenty. Please, Ma, I appreciate it, but I'm not 20 anymore. I can buy my own groceries. I work at a grocery store, for pity's sakes. But no, I mean, but my grandma was even the worst. She was always trying to feed us all the time. After lunch, we'd be playing outside and we'd come back in, when we were visiting grandparents on the farm. Me and my cousins would be goofing around. It's only been like a couple hours after lunch we come running in the house to get something to drink, cool down a bit in the summertime. And Grandma's giving us snacks and stuff. We're pretty full, but she wants to give us the snacks. Dragon Sage says, I'll take the leftovers. I mean, let me put it this way. I don't put up much of an argument. I do not put up much of an argument. Oh, it's Thursday. So I didn't even throw the Thursday into the mix. It's Thursday. That's a weird day to have it. So Thanksgiving is Thursday, and then you get the Black Friday, then you have the Saturday, Sunday. So does that give you the 4-day weekend if you're a 9-to-5er? So your Thanksgiving is on the 27th. Well, bless you. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving. But yeah, I'll take the leftovers for sure. Kathy's going to have Chinese food for Thanksgiving dinner. Why not? For my Canadian Thanksgiving dinner, I had a great big giant turkey leg. Roasted it in the oven. I had it with some taters and some corn on the cob. And I think, what was it? Broccoli? Broccoli and carrots, I think. Steamed broccoli and carrots. It's delicious. Stephanie Babylon Fox says Americans live long weekends. Live for long weekends, yeah. So do us Canadians, especially the long weekends in the summer, because our summers are so short and we'll take all we can get. Anyways, what was I pulling up here? Oh, yeah. Got some Thanksgiving-related videos here from Kathy's Corner. Kathy likes to send me stuff behind the scenes, as many of you do. But for some reason, this has just become the portion of the show where we share the shenanigans by you fine folks. And 9 times out of 10, Kathy Broughton is bringing it.
Hello, you hungry? I make some food for you now. Sit there.
I'm not hungry.
Can I make something small? Sit there.
I'm full. I can't have anything else.
Something small. Sit there.
I'm full, Ma. I can't have anything. I'm absolutely stuffed.
Yeah, that's about the size of it. That's about the size of it, especially Grandma. Not Mom so much. Mom definitely pushing the leftovers on you, which again, I'll be like, nah, I'm fine, Ma. I'm fine. But eventually I'm going to relent because let's face it, the leftovers are delicious. But yeah, you definitely got to have the, I don't know. I mean, Thanksgiving, you have whatever you want to have. I like the traditional Thanksgiving meal. But every once in a while, I'll have something different. Sure. Chinese food. Why not? Pizza or a lasagna. How about a lasagna? Have yourself a nice lasagna for Thanksgiving dinner. How about that? But it's kind of hard to beat the corn on the cob, though.
Chew it. No, eat it. Bite it. No.
That dog was eating corn on the cob. It didn't even take the dog long to figure out, oh, wait a second, I just nibble at her like this right there, buddy. Fantastic. I don't eat yellow corn or yellow snow. Yeah, that's right. You don't want to be eating that yellow snow. I only eat when hungry. It's the best time to eat. That's the best time. Have you ever seen anything? Kathy Broad says that was cute. Yeah, Hippie says cute dog. Have you ever seen anything like that before? This dog's just going to go to town on the corn on the cob. So there you go. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you, my American friends. Enjoy your American Thanksgiving with your turkey and gravy, with all the fixings and the sweet potato. Why am I turning into a Bill Cosby voice when I'm doing, you gotta get your sweet potato and the corn on the cob for the Thanksgiving? Don't forget the jello pudding and the corn on the cob with the Coca-Cola. Anyway, that's enough of that nonsense. I think that is going to do it. That's going to seal the deal here for Frankie. New West Reset and New West Reset Live. Episode number 146 here today. We're looking at some alluring headlines and some discoveries about some ancient sites and places. Stuff that we already kind of knew. They're just kind of throwing it back out there because it seemed to me like they were adding more BS to the mountain of BS that was already there. And with that said, links below for everything we covered if you want to check out those articles, as well as how you can get a hold of a fella, email, BitChute, and of course over on YouTube and Rumble. My location map down there as well, courtesy of Unfree Mason, Cousin Vinny himself over here. You get the Cousin Vinny with the Frankie fingers.
So, Tommy, where have you been, huh? I've been watching New West Reset. Huh? Well, it's New West Reset. It's this thing on YouTube. He goes around, he does his boots on the ground thing. They'll tell you.
And as well, link below if you feel so inclined to make a donation to the channel. Certainly not necessary, but if you want to make a donation to the guy's PayPal, greatly appreciated. If you send me your address and your size preference, I'll send you a t-shirt, a New West Reset t-shirt as a thank you for donating. And speaking of t-shirts and whatnot, just got something back from the printers a few days ago. Those of you that have been around for a while know there's a term I like to throw around called schmutz. Well, I had some ball caps made with schmutz, but in the Schlitz beer label. Boom! Look at that. The black and the yellow trucker hat with the schmutz. Goofing on the Schlitz beer logo, the schmutz hat. So yeah, if you make a PayPal donation, I'll send you a t-shirt or a hat. Let me know. Just give me an address, your size preference. I'll keep all your information confidential, of course. I'm not going to dox you. What am I, some kind of knucklehead or weirdo? Come on now. Come on now. Stephanie Babylon Fox says, oh my God, epic. Turtle thinks that's awesome. Oh, Cousin Vinny's liking it. My grandma drank Schlitz. See, there you go. Yeah, when I explained to them at the printers, look, I say schmutz. I want to get hats made that say schmutz, but in the Schlitz logo. They said, if you can design it, we'll do it. And they're the ones that do my t-shirts. So I knew they could do it. So I designed it and I brought it over. The lady's name is Pam over at Minuteman Press. I mocked up the logo, by editing an actual Schlitz beer logo. And I brought it in on a PDF file, and she had a look at it, and she said, "Oh, we can absolutely do that." So yeah, there you go. It's pretty psyched about that one. It's pretty psyched. Yeah, that's right. If I dox you, then Dragon Sage will just dox me. All right, so there you go. Thank you. That's right, Minuteman Press, right here in Calgary, Alberta, Canada land. That's right. That's right. Right here in my neighborhood, actually. That's why I go to them. I'd like to support their business because they're a local business right here, right down the street from me, like 5 blocks away from me. So I'm not going to go to some anonymous online BS where they ship you the product and it's not at all what you asked for. This one here, they'll print you up a sample and you go and you give it an approval and then they'll run off as many as you want. So yeah, Minuteman Press. I know that's a weird thing. The Minuteman, I know. I'm not really sure if they're actually aware that that's a play on words or not, but it is what it is. They do good work. So there you go. Thank you very much, once again, everyone, for joining me here. Thanks for winding down your weekend. Don't forget, Wednesday, Vintage Footage and Car Watt will be coming up again for you to enjoy at your leisure and pleasure. It'll be on Wednesday, and then Friday, Boots on the Ground. See you back here next week for the live show. So until then, take care out there, everyone, and have yourselves a good one. Stay safe. And thanks again for joining me for the late start. Next week, we'll be back to the regular schedule of 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Take care. Cheers.
It's a mystery. It's a mystery wrapped in a riddle inside an enigma.